All right, let's start. Welcome, Nassim. We just made an agreement that you're going to pronounce your surname by yourself. So please share your full name with us. Who are you and what are you doing, man?
Hi, my name is Nazim Agabekov. This is how you pronounce my surname correctly. I'm a marketing consultant, and obviously, Sascha and I have been working together on a couple of projects where I would bring in my clients to work with Sascha on sales consulting, and here we are.
Nice having you here, and thanks for taking your time. And yeah, this is the first interview in English, and I love it. So it's a kind of new for me. Usually we do them in German, but for me it was important to show the full range of people we're working with, and we also have those international clients. You personally sitting in Prague,
Yeah.
and from time to time you're working with German companies, but also with international companies. Maybe you
Yeah.
can explain to our people a little bit more what are you doing exactly, because we are very specialized on the sales part, even if we do also general consulting, but I would say you are kind of more specialized on the marketing part.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a marketing consultant and I work with online-based businesses. And as you mentioned, actually quite a few of them are German-based. And I do consult them in English a lot of times. What I learned is, what's sales? Sales is essentially leads, which is marketing. You generate leads from marketing multiplied by sales conversions or like sales process. And though I'm the absolute expert in marketing and I'm pretty decent at sales, I'm not the absolute expert at sales. You're the absolute expert at sales, and you and your team. That's why I come to you. A lot of times, what happens is I help my clients generate leads and I even set up sales processes. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty of the sales process, sales script, and really getting on sales calls with prospects and converting them at a higher rate, I don't have the enough scale, right, to be the top tier support to my clients, but also at the same time, more importantly, I don't believe that you can do many things like on a legendary level at the same time. So even if I did commit the time to like knocking sales training out of the park, I'm simply not going to have time for it. Just the same way you're not going to have time for it to be the best lead generation or marketing expert, right? So that's why we have this symbiotic relationship together where we generate leads and then work and focus on converting them. So that's one part of it. And then second part of it is specifically the service that we've been working on together is really when it comes to remote sales, it's very difficult because sure, I can even develop scripts with my clients, but what happens when it comes time for execution? Because uh, coming up with strategy is one thing, but executing processes on a high level consistently, literally day in, day out, that requires uh, daily touch-ups, mentoring, weekly feedback, and that's also where you guys can come in very handy, where you don't just consult on processes, but you also help the sales departments of my clients stay consistent, stay on top of it, keep getting weekly feedback, and stay on top of their execution and keep them
Mhm.
accountable.
Yeah. I think, first of all, thanks for the flowers, but I think it's a very humble statement because I'm watching your content and what you're saying is top notch. It's on point about sales. And I know you can do also the sales part. So it's less about skills, I would say. It's more about positioning and the resources because resources
Yeah,
are limited and you can. I think that's one of the major mistakes people doing in the beginning when they start a company. They get this rush of what or who can I help? And then they feel good by helping, and then they're losing their red line. And they're doing sales, they're doing marketing, they're doing recruiting. And in the beginning, you don't have unlimited resources. You probably never have. And so your scope is just more marketing. But man, I worked with you. I mean, it was also, there have been a time when it was reversed. So you have been our consultant in another project,
yeah,
and we worked pretty much on sales, and it was amazing. And you also have your track record with American companies where you went in and you fixed the sales, which I want to talk a little bit about what you
yeah,
did there exactly. And so it's a very humble feedback. And I would say it's about the resources because you have to make a decision. in what I want to be really good
Yeah.
and what kind of problem I want to fix. And then you can go from the left side to the right. And in this case, you're more left because you're going with the marketing. So first you attract the leads, you give the resources, the knowledge you have. And when your client is ready, from time to time, you reach out to us because we are specialized on the next part from left to right on the sales part. And that's what you're saying. You have to check in, you have to track them, you have to motivate them, train them. And that's a lot of operative work. So the one thing is the strategic, you do the smart planning. And the other thing is just
Yeah.
the groundwork where you have to kick asses and be close to the
Yeah.
people. And that's where we specialize on. We are kind of pain in the ass, but this kind of pain creates revenue. And that's what we are specialized on. But
Hmm.
back to your humble statement, man, I also wanted to talk to you because you, as I already said, you have a lot of experience in sales as well. Like the last, no, it wasn't last year, but the year before, you worked with the American company. And man, I would love to hear more about how you won them as a client and what you changed to explode their
Cool.
revenue to a certain level.
Do you want to make this video about your services, or you want to just chit chat about marketing, sales, and random advice?
I mean, man, let's go with the flow. We can speak
Okay.
open, and I think it's interesting for the people as well what kind of cooperatives and partners we have, and we're gonna come back to my services
Okay.
later.
Sounds good. So I'm a marketing consultant and I help the Passion.io, which is a software company. It's actually half of it is based in Germany, in Berlin and Munich, and then half of it is in America.
Oh, I didn't know
And
about the German part. I did not know about that.
co-founder is from Munich.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. So it's cool. But anyway, as a marketing consultant, I came across their website and I had an idea for a new product they could launch. And I just recorded a quick Loom video, which basically encapsulated my thoughts in a 2-minute video. And I used Apollo to find their email addresses, the co-founders' email addresses, and I sent them the email with a subject line, I'll help you make $1 million, like a very bold subject line. And a lot of people send such emails, but it's blank or it's just plain text, or they say, "Hey, would you be interested?" But I send them the actual thoughts, right, with the raw idea, and they liked it. And pretty much the day after we got on a call, and within a month we started working. We launched a new service, and in 2 years we made $5 million with that service. So in the beginning, I helped them launch it, but then we had a bottleneck. It's not a bottleneck. It's a natural continuation of the post-launch period as sales. And we had one salesperson on the team, but there was no one to manage him, and there was no sales process, there was no sales script. And we knew that if we wanted to scale this sky high, we would have to hire a sales team and train and develop them. Funny enough, I'm not a sales manager or sales consultant by trade, but because prior to that, I had worked with dozens of sales teams when I was doing lead generation work. I knew the dynamics of sales processes very well. I knew how high performing sales teams operated. So I took it upon myself to do what basically sales managers that I've worked with before done, right? Which was to build a sales team and scale it, which is what I did, right? We went from 1 to 5 sales teams strong. We had 2 account executives slash closers and 2 setters, right? People who qualified people, and we jumped from making zero with the product to making 250K per month, pretty much right from the get-go. So and then after 2 years. I bowed out of the project again because I'm not a sales manager, right? I did all I could, and then when it was time to go, I left. But I'm still in very good relations with the company, and the company is doing fantastic.
I love it. What you describe, it's also the chain of what our clients describe. They do sales because there was a moment when they had to do it, but they're always coming back to the same moment. I'm not a salesperson, man. I want to get out of it, and I always have the same thoughts. It's a shame. You do very well. Probably you in some points even better because man, from 0 to 5 million, you had a team. You created that out of nothing, and you won the championship by acquiring those clients by yourself. And that's a very tricky point because a lot of people, we're not only working with companies, we're also working with salespeople. And it's never a good start when a sales rep comes up to me and says, man, I want to get into your mentoring also because of the network you have for the gigs. And yes, it is a reason we're selling the product, but a sales rep who cannot sell themselves and acquire a client, it's
Yeah,
it's 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 a tricky one because I have to ask myself the question: do I really want to work with this person? Because it's a high chance that this person's going to sit on the bench forever. So
yeah.
you brought up the whole spectrum, and that's also the reason I wanted to speak about it because it's very interesting. So from the perspective of a person who rocks sales but don't want to be in sales, what are the key learnings you can share with people in a similar position?
For sales advice,
Yeah.
for sales, my sales that I do is a little bit different because I typically I like to just go on a good opportunity. That's that, and my promise when it comes to sales is very simple. I'll help you make 1 million, 2 million, $3 million. So it's a very easy thing to kind of like promise and get people surprised,
Man,
right?
you're
Or
you're
like,
selling the benefit, the most important
yeah,
thing.
I'm
Yeah,
selling the big dream,
yeah.
right? But the complexity of selling my service comes in in essentially having the proven track record to show for it. Gladly, over the last 10 years, I have amassed a very strong portfolio of clients and client successes, which does selling for me, right? So that's my sales. It's I would love to brag and boast that I'm such a great salesperson and I have this 5-step sales process that I go through, but I'd lie if I said that. Typically, I dive into basically uh, a client audit. Maybe something I do unwillingly or subconsciously that I don't admit is I, by asking a client a barrage of questions, I make them feel so bad about their marketing because I ask them a bunch of things that they don't know about that I think like even unwillingly, the client starts feeling bad because, oh my God, this marketing consultant is asking me all these questions and I don't know half the things he's asking me about. This is how little I know about my marketing. So kind of like give them the pain, and then obviously I pitch them the dream. So maybe that creates a big disparity between sort of like the pain they're in and the dream that they want to get to. So maybe that plays into my success rate when I'm on sales calls. And then that plus actual proven record that I can show for is what I would say accounts for my success.
Yeah. I mean, also people probably watching this video which are working as head of sales or CEOs or sales rep which want to improve, maybe also marketers. I don't know who this video will be watched of, I hope many people, but I can tell you what in my world makes the work with you great is you have this general vibes. So you coming,
I do.
yeah,
Okay.
you do. You're super strict. There's a tracking sheet. It must be filled out. It must be in time. You have an appointment with me. You're going to be in time. I mean, in the whole, we're working since years. Man, I checked it. It's more than 4 years now. We are
Um,
frequently jumping into deals together. And you never have been late to a meeting. So this is,
no.
and that's what I love about it. And that's a big thing in sales because it's about trust. It's about I need to know about can I trust this person when it's not only pitching the product, it's about being in time and speaking the truth. And maybe you're sometimes uncomfortable because you're very straight and honest. But this is what makes you also trustable and makes you confident, in my opinion. And
Thank
that's the
you.
reason, yeah, it's what I'm spotting since years working with you. It took me time. I can remember our first meetings, and you like a kind of a alpha who likes when it's going like he thinks it should go. And I'm the same. I have my own strategy and I like if it's going my way. And you in the first meeting challenged this status quo. So I was like, no, I don't want to work with him. I'm not gonna do it by myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how it was. But over the time, I learned to value and this professional way because m- being in businesses means being in work with different characters. And I work with characters which have been very creative, fluent in other things. But for example, the thing about being in time, I missed a lot sometimes. Or like, I'm gonna do this until tonight, and then you get the results. And
Mm.
with you, it was the first time since a long time I had someone who had the same values. The client must be happy. The job is done when the job is done, not the features are important, the results. And that's for closing the circle, it's what you're selling. There are people they're selling features. And if you sell features, you can be lucky and the person says, yeah, I like them and I'm going to do it because I'm a nerd about this topic. Or you're selling the benefit. And that's when a CEO or a person with influence really spends money, when he
Mm.
feels represented and can connect the own goals with your product. And that's what you're doing instinctively, because when I see you, I know you're going to be in time. You would not lie to me. So if you tell me we're going to rock this together, we're going to rock it. And that's what I like about this. And as more time we spend in the work together, it was a kind of a ritual. And then later it flipped. So not the positive workflow, the positions of us. I changed projects. I started my own way. We visited, or I visited you in Prague. And then I learned another person I
Yeah.
got another person to know, like the more family orientated guy who's like inviting you to a restaurant, showing the bars he enjoys, and it was very warm. Like
I'm very chill. People are very surprised when they meet me for the first
yes,
time.
yeah,
I'm very sarcastic, very relaxed.
yeah.
Like to go for a drink, have some good food. So don't take offense in almost anything. So outside of work, it's very relaxed.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the contrast of the general can be fun as well, and it's a compliment for me if I call you general. And there are people saying similar things about me, because if someone is late, doesn't do the groundwork, I'm very sensitive about it, and it's not fun for me. And then but there's another part of in everybody like a more chill person, because the balance is important. Otherwise, you burn out and you go
Yeah.
crazy. So speaking about you and the values where we have our, I would say, connection, at least spoken from my point, what would you say? Let's switch the roles also again here. Why you continue working with me with SNASH? What do you like? What you probably don't like? You can share openly what is your experience,
Mm.
but why are you coming again and again to the same point, deciding to work with us in some projects?
Yeah, so thank you for the kind words, and I'll also try to be as honest as possible. I think there's multiple reasons for why we keep working together over, let's say, last year, year and a half. Number one is I know you as a person, and I can pay back the same compliment without making this a context of kissing each other's asses. But basically, the kind of person you are, I know you have a vision for the company, and you have a vision for the kind of sales that you want to pursue. And then obviously I have trust in you from having seen you as a sales manager and sales director in the past projects that we've together worked with, right? So that's, I would say that's number one. Number two, you cover a very big pain point in the industry that I think is very apparent and very strong, especially when it comes to online-based businesses, which is again, like I said, when it comes to doing sales online, a lot of people sell sales coaching or sales even systems, but that's, in my opinion, not really what gets results over time. What gets results over time is consistent and ongoing engagement with the sales staff, continuous feedback, accountability, and your team is great. Like from basically the two projects we've so far worked with, we get added to a communications channel and we get answered to almost on a daily basis, and that's really what's important to me. And for example, when it comes to my clients, when I bring my clients, these people are too busy to running their businesses, right? I work with them on their marketing, right? They get on weekly meetings with me on marketing, and I can tell them to develop certain assets that then we're gonna plug into marketing systems. Same works with sales. right? I can help them develop certain sales assets now, including your feedback and input on it as well. But I'm saying all this because at the same time, my clients, which are business owners, don't necessarily have that much time to respond or ask or give feedback for every little detail that the sales rep that they brought on board, right, to keep them accountable and keep them engaged. And that's really where your programs and where your help comes in so handy, because you create this space community and this feedback loop where these sales reps that are working remote and can get disengaged very, very quick and very easily. You basically give them the environment where they can stay plugged in. Obviously, you do develop systems, you do develop scripts, which you've already given us a lot of input in. But I'm just saying that what makes the program, at least the program that we're working with, so different is, and what I really appreciate is that you create this space where online sales reps and sales pros can keep staying plugged in and accountable and engaged, which is something that's like really, really missing with a lot of sales coaching consulting, where they help you develop a script and this, that, and the other, but they don't really help you and your sales staff to keep engaged and keep accountable, which is what really gets results in the long run, right? So with ads, if you launch an ad system, there's an ads manager who just manages ads. That's it. With salespeople, it's humans. It's like live souls that have to be played with, have to be engaged with almost on a daily basis, especially online sales pros, because you're sitting in your house or a co-working space. This is not a boiler room, right, where you have 15 other wolves dialing for dollars, right? That's which
Yeah.
is, I mean, then that it's a great situation, but obviously, if you're going to run a flexible business, online business, there's some positive, but there's some drawbacks. Then you and your program helps us kind of like neutralize. That being said, so that's the positive. One comment I do want to make though is you're not the panacea or like the cure-all drug for all of business owners' problems. I found that even though you guys help us and support us a lot, there's still quite a few things we have to do internally with our sales reps to make sure that they're on track. It's not a scenario where we get to just dump the salespeople onto you and your team and that's it, right? We still have to, for example, set the criteria that makes sense for our business, obviously with your help, and review results with our sales reps, like bottom line results, right? That we have to review them, weekly results, monthly results, and then come to you when we've found something that's not working as well as we'll like. So when it comes to setting the standard and really making sure that we're hitting the standard, is something that we have to work on. And then you are basically the partner that we come to, where we, show and talk or maybe complain a little bit about our findings, and then you can help us in brainstorming and researching further, like what part of the sales process that's off. I'm just saying again is that this is a partnership. It's not like I wish we could just dump the salespeople on you, right? And that was kind of like my dream when we started working together. But over time, I realized that it's really a partnership. Like there's still very strong and important deliverables that are laying on our shoulders that we have to fulfill for this thing to work. So.
It's very interesting what you're saying, and thanks for the words. When we had a kind of challenge in the beginning to describe in very little word what we are doing. And because we are good in so many things, that's what I also mean in the beginning,
Yeah.
you have to focus your resources. We had to find a way. And working with another agency who is specialized on events, we had to find a sentence, like one punchline, what we're actually doing. And we ended up by saying, all right, marketing is already running, bottleneck sales. We helping you to blah, 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 blah. And this one sentence it defined our service. So what people forgetting is the sport, the sales team. It's a kind of sports team. You cannot create a process and then it will run forever. You need motivation. They're like children. You have to, it's like a kindergarten, to be honest. There's like,
Yeah.
it's not fair, then it's crying, it's sick, the girlfriend breaks up, and it's crazy. We had like 2, 3 months ago, we had the client, we did the sales for this person. It was a consultancy company, and we had a salesperson which was in a breakup. And from one moment to another, and it's not funny, I'm not laughing about him, laughing about this, like, these details, how big they can be in the work in the end. So
Mhm.
because he felt insecure, somehow he manipulated his own sales calls in a negative way, that the clients, the potential clients, asked for securities as well. And only in his calls, they wanted to speak to other clients, and they wanted more
Mhm.
safety
Mhm.
elements to book.
Yeah.
And he said, like, no, it's not my fault, it cannot be. And we screened the call, and after screening 1, 2 calls with him, we had a conversation. And in the conversation, we figured out he's going through a tough breakup. He feels insecure, which is totally normal. I also have been once in a breakup and had to be a sales rep. It's almost impossible, because sales, I always say, it's the department which cannot be run without motivation. And if you're in your breakup, there are only two modes. You want to break out and you're super motivated, or you fucked up and you're not. And this is the beginning.
Yeah.
So you have to lick your wounds and to come back. And speaking about this topic, giving him 1, 2 days of freedom, he came back and the topic was gone. Not by changing the script, not by
Mhm.
changing
Yeah.
testimonials,
Yeah. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
by changing his OS. And that's very
Sure.
interesting. And so this is was it's one example. Now you have a team of 10, or you maybe even corporate, you have hundreds of them. And then it's summarizing up those problems. And that makes sales so special, because no normal CEO has time to deal with all those problems. And this gap we're filling with our product. And in the beginning, it was very challenging to have this backbone where we're training them. I mean, we started by creating those architectures for sales departments. Then clients asked us if we can also train the sales rep. And we started with 1 call per week. And now we have 3 per week. And we have trainers, we have topics, we even do analyzing of calls, and it's growing organically by need. So people telling
Mhm.
us what they need, we screen it, and if it makes sense, we roll it out like a product update on a phone, for example.
Yeah.
It makes us very proud. But in the beginning, it was our biggest challenge to get clients for this sparring training, get clients for the architecture, because it's exactly my biggest learning is never spread too early. It's like it can kill you because you're not ready. You're doing so many mistakes. Like, creating a new company is not knowing what you're doing. It's knowing you will find a way, even if it's not working yet. This is
Mhm.
my personal opinion. And now it's slowly paying off, because we have the project managers, we have the trainer, the clients recommend us to others. We get the system is running, it's breathing. But coming
Mhm.
to this point, we have the backbone where you can train people. We have project manager which can run the project. We have marketing running. We're getting enough new clients to pay those investments. It was a big challenge. So I had
Mhm.
also no time. And the fun fact is, then what is the thing you try to save time? It's your sales team. Because somehow they rock stars, they always talking, they're in a good
Yeah.
mood. So yeah, let them do. But if you let them do, the quality goes down, they shrink their performance. So they need to be tracked like a striker on the field. You have to
Mhm.
talk to them and tell your expectations, you have to measure them. And a lot of people have problems with measurement. I just made a reel, I got a nice response on it. So, like, people in the normal economy, I would say, which is not so performance oriented, which is a big problem, in my opinion,
Mhm.
they confuse micromanagement with tracking. Like,
Yeah.
tracking is just making transparent and let's go where the problems are and fix them and let's go where the chances. And micromanagement is I'm calling you all 10 minutes and telling you what to do next. So this is bullshit. But to know by 100% transparency in the sales, which is one of our core values. So in every project we had with you, we implementing in the first week this tracking sheet, which also we worked already together. I remember also we did that in every project before we started together.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's a very important point. So, and if you have all these things which matter, it's no wonder that people don't have time and sales departments suck. And then there are the sales coaches, and they going theoretically, or they're the architects and consultants which bring you a systematic, but in the end you have to do it by yourself. And what we try
Yeah.
is to do as much as we can, and that's the last important thing we also want to say. There's a big difference between scaling a company and making people happy outside like clients happy. And for me it changed a lot of things when I said I will scale on second priority. Priority number one is making clients as happy as I can,
Mm-hmm.
because then it's slower, but it's real and it's healthy. And if you change this, you're not trying to bring distance to your clients. You try to get them closer. You check in with them. You call them, and what you get back then, it's nice feedback. And of course, if you have hundreds of them and you're growing, there's a point where you have to switch this mode again. But I think what I see on the market is also many small companies are like get inspiration from these big entrepreneurs, which not in the state anymore that it matters how close they're to the client. But like the first 3 years, I would say you must be a kind of spiritual body of those clients, because they know you can ask you with everything. They're going to be happy. um, if you have a question about marketing, I say, okay, man, I'm specialized on sales, but in my experience, da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. So, and I try your problem, my problem, because if you make money, you're a happy client, you will recommend me, you will buy me again, you will
Yeah.
book me again. And this mindset must be like leading by excellence. It doesn't matter who's right, my client must be happy until he behaves like an asshole. Then okay, you have to kick
Right.
him out. But I never had like a client who was really asshole, to be honest. There was in the last years one client I had to do a refund, one, and we had an agreement, and it's okay. I would not say we have been happy, but we have been also not unhappy like we want to fight. It was okay, and it happens. And I would say everybody who is saying all my clients always happy, that is lying, because it's
Yeah.
impossible. But important is how you handle that. So for me, changed a lot when I said, okay, let's just make my clients happy, and they happy when they make money. That's why they book me. This is the whole circle, and this is what
Yeah.
I do. And if I see you not doing money, and my project manager seeing that, they calling you and asking what's going on. Man, come on, let's do
Mhm.
it. What can we
Yeah.
do to create some skill? And I think add to revenue, and that's very important, I would say.
Sure. 100%.
All right. So, man, I mean, checking the time, there's a little bit left, but let's not overdo it. You're someone who's very deep in the industry. That's what I value about you. That's why I'm sometimes reaching out to you. We also went for vacations together, like last year Lisbon, to an event together, and it's just nice to
Yeah.
speak to someone who understands the values of the market of business, who has also vision. You said like you like the vision of SNASH. I like you value you the way you live your life. You're not wasting time. You like traditional but progressive, I would say. So it's like a nice balance. And you're in the industry. You work with big names. You usually behind the curtain, but you know how to scale big companies above 1 million per month. And that's an interesting thing. As someone so deep in the industry for many years, what do you think it's going to happen in the next years? Maybe with AI, maybe not. I'm not this AI guy who's only speaking about it, but what do you think will be important the next 5 years to run agencies and consultancies over
Yeah. Yeah.
100K per month, stable, maybe 1 million, to be one of the necessary or good players on the market?
Like, what's going to be AI's impact on that?
Yeah, or general, what do you think? What is going to be important from your perspective? You can say nothing will change, just continue doing great work. But
Mhm.
maybe you say AI will change some stuff. Maybe you say, I don't know, I don't have a clue. Just be open. What do you think?
AI gives us at this point, at this moment, it gives a lot of freedom because you can do a lot of repetitive tasks, and I don't mean repetitive as in copy paste, even repetitive complex tasks very quick using AI, such as analyzing complex data, analyzing sales calls. I mean, there's even tools that tell you the mood of the salesperson at a specific time on the sales call. So at this point in time, I'm seeing AI as a fantastic tool, right? Out of the ordinary tool that will help you in marketing and sales. A lot of people say, that AI will replace salespeople. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the nearest 1 to 2, maybe 3 years. After that, I think it will. But we're talking 5 years plus, and the rollout is not going to be immediate. I think the rollout is going to be first for basic phone support kind of roles. But I'm not sure even then if it will completely oust like really good sales processes, right? Because and if it will, well, we're in deep trouble because AI is very human-like now, and not
Mm,
in terms of processes, but also in terms of tonality, emotions, mood, creative thinking, and that's a part of a whole different conversation. So at this point, I think AI is a fantastic tool to help you grow and can be applied in marketing, sales,
mm,
any sort of idea generation. So I would say do not overthink it and just take it at its face value and use it as much as possible. And whatever tomorrow's bring, it'll bring, and we will adapt and adjust. And the most important thing is to actually to just stay on top of it and to not let go, even if it's just, subscribing to a YouTube channel or an Instagram uh, influencer who covers AI news, just consuming that content slowly week by week will help you to stay on top of developments. And these AI influencers, they discuss AI updates in sales, marketing, tech. So you just pick the one that covers AI updates and news in your specific sphere, and you just do that, right? So.
mm.
That's the easiest thing to do.
I think it's very important to not overthink it because you can go crazy if
Yeah.
you try to control it. But at the same time, you say stay on top of it instead of going lost in some reels, spending 30 minutes a week
Yeah.
to just get some news because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not so super much pro AI. I'm not against it. I'm just watching it and I'm using it when I can use it to optimize workarounds.
Yeah.
We working on it to do more performance, especially out of sales calls. We are developing own tools like
Hmm.
to, for example, get some feedback to not replace the person, but to make a person more efficient. At least that's the state we're in. And I think there's one fact which will always be on point. Like AI can probably replace what we're doing, but they cannot replace the fact that we are human. So if there's a person who, for which it's important to buy from a person, there must be a person in the end. Otherwise, it's a decision out of principle. So, and I was talking last year about this with some clients because they have been scared. They said like, does it make sense to invest in my sales career still? And I said, if you wanna, of course it makes sense if you want to be better than the mediocre, because then there is a high chance that you will stay in the race. But people who just take a paper selling cheap shit products without great value, they will be replaced, I'm sure. Because
Yeah.
pardon me, I don't want to like sound rude, but people who don't know how to buy good stuff, people who
Yeah.
get easily, like why also this scene sometimes has for a reason a stigma, they're not able to make good buying decisions. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if there's a person or a bot sitting, and I think those jobs are really in danger. But value creation,
For sure.
networking, the difference, services, luxury, those stuff, they will be defined by doing maybe inefficient things like a person still selling, like we do it in luxury. And there's
100%.
always a way, it depends how you do your positioning. And I'll have a plan B. Since some weeks, I have an offer to take over an electrician company in Germany. Like, because many years ago, I was working on construction as electrician.
Yeah.
And I was telling a friend some weeks ago, that's the goal from tomorrow because those jobs, it will take ages to replace them. So the
Yeah.
moment when all international economy students will be replaced by AI, they will look a new like gold
Tradesmiths.
rush place. And so
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna spread my entrepreneurial career also in traditional businesses. Let's see. I give you an update in a month. So
Yeah.
there's always a plan B.
Cool, man. Sounds
All right.
good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, leave me one last question and then I let you run. So first of all, thanks for the time. Very interesting. I think we should continue that one day. So there's a person sitting here watching this interview and thinking about to work with SNASH. What would you tell this person right now?
I would say leave the sales processes and ops to people who are like really freaking good at it, as good as you are at running business, and just focus on what you're really good at and let them focus and help you in what they're really good at. And I think that's what makes up any successful business, where talented people in their own right and in their own skill come together and collaborate and partner up to create great results. So that's what I would say.
All right, man. Amazing. Thanks a lot for being here, for having taking the time. See you next time and bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.